Hello, it is time for another year of Herkid, the hardest reading challenge I will ever do. This is the third year that I've actually been participating. I have not properly done it. I don't submit my books like you're supposed to. I'm bad at that kind of stuff. I simply use Storygraph challenges to mark out all of the things that I've read. I'm almost done with my 2.0 TBR. I still have a little bit of time on that, so it's fine. And I might be starting Herkid 3.0 a little bit sooner just because I've been putting some of my June TBR books on it because I'm excited for them. So I'm playing a little bit fast and loose with the rules, but this year's Herkid is all about customization and making it unique to you and what's going to fit your reading taste. I'm going to be honest. I like the challenge. I like this being more difficult. I like it being within a time frame. If you're curious how my brain works and how my year works, we have the calendar year, January to December, but then we also have our fantasy, which is March to April. And then you got tax season in there, which is like its own section of my year. And then on top of all of that, you got Herkid, which is like July to June typically, or July to July, depending on how you look at it. And then throughout there's also the horror bingo and there's the romantasy bingo. So those all kind of help break up my reading years because they're all different fiscal years. And I find that's very fun for me to be like, oh, look at what I read this year that works for it, but last year stuff didn't work and now I can. It's just, I personally enjoyed being able to participate this way, but I am currently participating in a Storygraph challenge that was created by Azura Santosha. I'm sorry. I'm really bad with usernames. But there's 320 participants currently in this specific challenge. There's a few out there. I'll link this one down in the description if you are interested in joining the specific one. But basically it has all 150 prompts laid out for you, but also with the theme of customization, there is no end or start dates for it. So you are able to put in books for whatever time frame you want, for whenever you're joining and what suits your fancy. So I like that, and I think that's pretty fun. I'm technically 1 out of 150 so far. So I'm kind of winning already, even though it's not technically started. And the other thing that I want to mention is that these are all books that I've been contemplating reading for the year already. I read a lot. And I know that for the average person, 150 books is a lot. I read a lot. I have a YouTube channel. This is kind of my main thing. It's just reading books and watching Dungeons and Dragons and playing video games. Those are my things. So I'm able to read significantly more than maybe the average person. You're allowed to double up your books for prompts, which means that you just have to read 75 books. And again, it's not so hard with the rules that if you need extra time at the beginning or the end, that's fine. If you want to spend 2-3 years completing this challenge, do whatever you want. It's all fine. But this is what works for me. I have doubled up a couple of times, but for the most part, I read 150 books in a year already. If I'm splitting this between 2 years, basically, I can get a lot added in. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I think that's all the stuff we got to talk about, so we can just jump right in. I don't have cute graphics at the time of me filming this, so hopefully post filming, editing, Sam will have some cute things to put on the screen. I will not be giving you a synopsis for every single book. 1, I have not read these books, so I don't fully know what they're going to be about. And 2, we would be here for ages. So this is kind of my general TBR, but I say TBR based on these are the books that I'm ideally thinking about picking up and reading. But as I actually commit to reading real books, not theoretical books, throughout the year, I will be updating my Storygraph challenge constantly with things that I know that I've finished and what works for it and completing things that way. I do the same thing with our fantasy. So take this TBR as suggestions and ideas that might work for your TBR. And we're trying to just, sharing some ideas. So first up, we have Choose Your Party. This is a 5-book prompt where we need to read for different D&D classes. I love D&D. I already mentioned it. I know. I actually have very fun D&D-esque plans for the channel coming up again. I just finished my Critical Role reading vlog series and recommendations, so obviously I'm a fan of D&D. And this one is honestly super easy, super simple. Everyone could easily do it. It's basically reading a book that represents one of the D&D classes. There are quite a few, and you just pick 5. I have picked Rogue, Druid, Wizard, This is why I write things down. Fighter and Ranger. Those are the ones that I had gone with. For this, I will be reading Six of Crows as my rogue book because I am the last person on BookTube to have read it. So hopefully it's on the list. The problem with me is, yes, I want to read Six of Crows, but I don't like heist books, and I haven't read the first trilogy, Shadow Storm. You know better than I do. And I feel like as a completionist, I need to read the trilogy first, and then I can read the duology, and that's just like a lot. But we're going to challenge myself to do it, so it's just going to be fine. Six of Crows as my rogue book. My wizard book, I want to read A Rather Vengeful Accord because I've been excited. It's actually on this cart right now. I should also mention that I did a little bit of math. I counted about 80 plus books on this TBR I physically own. So my goal, as is everyone's goal, it seems, is to be reading the books that we own. I own a lot of books, so obviously I want to make sure that I'm reading them, but I also know that I'm a mood reader, and I also love using my library, so it's kind of a nice mix. A little more than half physical TBR, the rest I can borrow from the library, or like Everand or whatever, so like I think this is a fair style for me. I'm struggling with words today. My druid book I will be picking up, hopefully, Daughter of the Forest, because I've been wanting to read this forever. I'm just, right now is like the perfect time for me to read it. I don't have the summer sads yet. I'm trying not to jinx it, but I do typically get one pretty big depressive episode in the summer, and I'm just like anticipating it, but I'm in such a good mood, such high spirits. I can't tell if it's like post-breakup, I'm just like thriving now, and it's summer, or what it is. But I'm having a really good start to my summer, even though the heat waves have started. Oh, it's too hot here. I'm not okay with it. I say in my grandpa sweater, but here's the thing. It's cold in the house, and the heat wave ended yesterday. So, it's coming back. That's fine. Anyways, I'm getting so sidetracked. Sorry. I was saying that I'm in high spirits, good mood, which means I could probably handle reading Daughter of the Forest soon. But I know that it deals with a heavy topic and trigger for me, so I've been very hesitant about picking it up, but I've only heard fantastic things, and everyone says that I should read it, so. Anyways, for Fighter, I will be picking up the next installation in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I feel like Carl could be a fighter or a barbarian. He kind of has, just like that melee brute strength attributes to him, so I feel like he works fine for that. And the final class that I have is Rangers, which I want to read The Ranger's Apprentice. I really want to get into the series. Cassandra mentioned it a few times, talks about it on her channel a lot. She's like a big fan. She's read the series multiple times, and I've just always had an interest in it. So that's kind of my plan for Ranger. There's not a lot of Ranger books. But now we move on to the periodic table. For this one, I honestly went pretty basic and simple. Did not go crazy. I got politely told that I need to finish the David Bond trilogy by Brandy, so here we are. I've got The Kingdom of Copper and The Empire of Gold, both on this TBR, so I will finish a trilogy, which will be a great feeling. I also have The Radium Girls, which is a non-fiction about, an actual event in our history, hence the non-fiction part, obviously, Samantha. Basically, it's about radium poisoning, when people thought it was this cool glow-in-the-dark non-poisonous substance, and the Girls Historian podcast did an episode on it, and I was fascinated, so wanting to pick that up. I also have Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik and The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. Both books I'm interested in. Neither, but I own. And then we have the Familial Terms. I maybe kind of am cheating, but it's also fine. There's no hard rules, right? So I'm going with Death's Daughter, Son of the Morning, The Children by Melissa Albert. I love when I know names. Melissa Albert. She is the author of The Hazelwood. And so I'm interested in this. This is her newest release. And yes, children, daughter, and son are basically all the same thing, but they are definitely distinct words, so it's fine. And then I also have Blackwater Sister by Zen Cho and The Dead Husband's Cookbook. Now, husband is one of those words that I do think could be argued does not count because it's not technically family, but it's marriaged family. So I'm counting it because I want to read it. Next, we've got regional books. These are just books in different regions of the world. Think of if you were going to do a read around the world challenge, which areas you might hone in on. For this, I have The Healing Hippo of Hyundai Park for my East Asian region. And then for my West Asian / Middle East area, I am going to be reading Frankenstein in Baghdad. I've been wanting to read this forever. Have I read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley? No. I think I will, because this is not the only Frankenstein-esque related book on this TBR. So I think it's time that I read Frankenstein, which will work for Sarah's broad reader challenge. One of the prompts is to read a classic for the Litfic column, so 2 birds, 1 stone, we're killing it. The other regions that I have is Latin America. I want to read Muñeca, which is doll in Spanish, and I knew that before I had to go double Google myself. This is a horror novella debut that I'm very excited for. And then for my 4th and 5th, I have Mediterranean. I'm going to read an Ali Hazelwood. Probably problematic summer romance, because I think that one might even... Ali Hazelwood's Italian, doesn't matter where the book is set. And I'm also going to do Eastern Europe, and I'm going to read Assassins of Reality, which is by a married couple of Ukrainian, and it was translated from Russia, and I've been meaning to read this for literally ever. It's the sequel to Vita Nostra, and I talk about it all the time, and I still haven't read it. It's been like 2 years. Next up, we have Choose Your Curriculum. This is basically taking school subjects and then making book. So I've got history, Blood on Her Tongue, I have science. I'm gonna read Unbound by Ali Hazelwood. Did you guys know that Bound was gonna have like a sister companion book? I didn't. I thought it was gonna be a standalone, but it's not. This will be an audio exclusive for the time being. I think at some point Bound and Unbound are going to be like a flipped double-sided book thing, but until we get that, I'm excited. It comes out in July, guys. I'm so excited. I really enjoyed Bound. I thought it was a lot of fun. Anyways, next up we have language. For that I'm reading translated work from Frederick Bachman. I'm going to read My Friends, which everyone last year loved, so I'm hoping to love it too. I'm just nervous. I don't want him to hurt me. Curriculum number 4 that I have is PE, and for this I'm going to read To Dance the Moon and Stars. I don't love the title, To Dance the Moon and Stars. Like, it makes sense, but it doesn't to me, you know? But I feel like dancing and having a book that's like all about dance is a graphic novel. It's beautiful art style. Will make for a good PE class. And then finally, I have language, like English writing class, and I'm going to read The Poet Empress, all about poetry. And I'm really excited for this one. I could not tell you where my copy has gone. I reorganized my book cart. I used to have all of my... Guys, why am I chatty so much today? Sorry. I rearranged my book cart, so all of my unhauled books are now sitting in a box in my hall, so I can get rid of them. And all of my like actual like TBR moved from that shelf over there onto the cart, which I feel really good about. It's the small changes in life. Next up we have road trip, which is basically traveling through the United States. You visit 5 states that are not California or New York. So that's like the only caveat. Of course, I got to start in Oregon. That's where I'm born and raised. That's where I'm living now. So for this, I will be reading What the Woods Took by Courtney Good, an Oregonian author who writes a lot of sapphic horror. And I'm really excited. I'm actually going to be reading this one for Summerween, if you were curious. I will talk about my Summerween TBR in my monthly TBR, so like don't even worry. But anywho, next up, I'll be making my way up north to Washington, and I will be reading Twilight. I've already got plans. I'm so excited. Can you believe me, Little Miss Twilight Head, has never read the Twilight series? But you know, sometimes you just have to wait for the right moment. I think the right moment is going to be this fall, and I cannot wait. Thank you. And then just kind of moving my way over to the east, I will be stopping in Montana, and I think I'm going to pick up Vampire Academy. And I don't really know why. I think because I just finished reading the Fallen series, and I'm gonna explore the Twilight series. Like, I'm just kind of in the mood for revisiting these kind of cringy paranormal romances of like the 2000s, 2010s era. Delightful. I'm having a great time. Join me. Anyways, Colorado, I will be reading The Shining, and from Vermont, I think I'm going to pick up The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, an author I've never read but have always had an interest in. I actually have Murder Road right around there on my shelf, and I refuse to read it. So, anywho, next up we have Bookception. Now, I'm thinking that when I read Twilight, it mentions Romeo and Juliet, Wuthering Heights. I think there's another classic that it references, and I might pick up that and also a classic, but I also might just keep my eyes peeled for like what might pop up. I don't read a lot of literary fiction, so I know a lot of like the fantasy and horror books aren't typically going to talk about other books in the world, so I'm just gonna kind of keep my eyes peeled for this. I will be skipping over a few of the not so secret prompts, basically the one that tells me to read outside or are activity based. I will decide those on the fly. Like whatever audiobook I pick up when I'm walking somewhere, as long as I exclusively listen to it on the walks, we're good. So I don't have all of my TBR guests solidified, but the next not so secret prompt is a book with a punny title. The not so secret prompts, by the way, were monthly drops that we got from the website that were like little bonuses that you could do. I didn't do most of them because I was really bad at checking the website. And the February one was a book with a punny title, and I truly wanted to like yeet my phone across the room. I was like, I can't do that. So I have 4 options. I have Witty and Pink, Hopeless Necromantic, Can't Spell Treason Without T, and I also have Bromantasy. I don't know which one I'm going to pick up. I've seen a lot of people reading Hopeless Necromancy recently, though, because it just came out, and so I'm leaning towards that one, but Can't Spell Treason Without T is on my physical shelf, so I don't know. Next prompt is a book with a full name in the title. For this, I'm picking up Jonathan Strange and Mr. Noel. I've been saying Mr. Noel for years, and no one has corrected me, but now I know. I need to read this as well for our fantasy, because one of the hard bonus prompts is to read a book that's 900 pages. I don't know if my copy is 900 pages, but every list that you look at that's like books over 900 pages, there's not as many as you would think, crazy enough, but this is one of them, and I need to read it anyway, so I'm trying to cross-promote all of the bingo boards that I have going on with the other reading challenges, because that is the only way that we'll stay sane in this world. Next prompt is to stop procrastinating. I'll be picking up most likely Onyx Storm, because I'm like, maybe a third through it. I just haven't finished it. Even though I enjoyed it last time I was picking up. First time I picked it up, I was like, meh. Then the second time I picked it up, I was like, loving it. And then I just haven't gotten to it. So that's happening. Next up, we have a duplicate title. For this, I'm going to be reading the Pregnant Tradwife book for this one. And then I'm going to read the other Tradwife book later for a different prompt. And then we have the Missed Childhood read. I'm going to be reading a series of unfortunate events for our fantasy, as well as for this. A video will be coming soon. I've already talked about it on the channel, so you're already familiar that it's coming, but I'm working on that right now, having a blast. Next up, we have Joseph's Coat Color book. I don't understand the reference. I think it's a book and or a song. I don't know. Enlighten me in the comments. But for this, I will be either picking up The Rose Bargain or Violet Thistlethwaite is Not a Villain Anymore. World's longest title. And then we have Influence book, which is just like a book that you saw on social media that you've been influenced to pick up. I'm going to pick up Yesteryear. I'm so excited. I've seen everybody's talking about it. Everyone's reading it. I want to be in the know. I want to know what's going on. And then the last not so secret prompt we have is the last name is the first name book. And the way that I've interpreted this and understood it to be is that it's the author's last name could also be another person's first name. So like Mark Lawrence, for example. I have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. I have The Last Starborn Seer. Next up we have the 5 cover style books. For this could be A Kingdom of Claw, which is a character art cover. I have Our Infinite Fates, which is just like a graphic design vibe. We have Hungerstone on my TBR, which is like a classic painting. And then for the fourth one, I have From Luca with Love, which is like a real life image. And then we have the titular TBR. It's basically like 1-word title, 2-word title, 3-word, all the way up to 10-word title. So we've got Wretch, Graceless Heart, An Arcane Inheritance, Rites of the Starling, A Head Full of Ghosts, The Last House on Needless Street, The Wolf, and The Crown of Blood. Hate that title too. It's too much. Everyone in this room will someday be dead. What you were looking for is in the library. And then for number 10, I have I Know a Place, Rest Stop, and Other Stories. Other short stories. It's like I Know a Place is like the title, but then there's like a tagline title, and I'm counting it, so don't fight me on that. All right, and then we have character to author. So basically for this prompt, you want a character in your first book's name to be an author's name for book 2, and then the main character in this book needs to be the author's name for this book. Capiche? So for this, I'm going to be picking up You're Fatally Invited, with one of the main characters being Cassandra. And then I'm going to pick up my first Cassie Clare, The Swordcatcher, because it's on my physical TBR. I will not read anything else, but it's on my TBR, and a lot of my friends have enjoyed it, so I guess I'm going to read it. And then I'm kind of fudging the name by a singular letter, and I will be reading After the Forest by Kel Woods. The main character in Swordcatcher's name is Kel, like Kel-E-L. Sorry, I can't spell. I'm dyslexic. K-E-L. And Kel Woods is K-E-L-L. Never ask me to spell words out loud. I cannot. And then we have the Shitori, which I guess is a game. Basically, the premise is like whatever the last letter of the title is needs to be the first letter of the next one. So I have Cruel is the Light, leads me to The Poet Empress, which goes into 7 Deadly Thorns. And for this, I will either read Starstruck or Spoiled Milk. Spoiled Milk was the initial one, but then I saw Starstruck and I said, oh, I really want to read that. And then we're going to end with Kingdom of Claw. Don't ask me to do hard mode. Hard mode would be that if I had a book that started with K and ended in C, and I don't know any of those, and I'm not gonna like investigate far enough to make hard mode work. We're doing enough already. On to page 2. I need my little notebook this time because we have the Herkid mashup. Basically, we're taking 1.0 prompts and mashing them up with 2.0 prompts. So the first one that I'm mashing up is 24 hours reading challenge of reading hopefully minimum at least 3 books. And I'm pairing that with a readathon because most of the readathons I participate will do like a 24 to 48 hour reading challenge. So I thought that was pretty straightforward and easy. Next one we have is lowest rating and also is a queer book, which I will be reading The Hunter's Gambit. Next up, I've decided to mash up Garage Sale and Author of Color, which I will be picking up Cinderella is Dead. And then we have a small booktuber recommended as well as a rainbow book. And I'm going to go with She's a Doll because my friend Aaliyah recommended this to me and I'm very intrigued by it. And it is a beautiful pink. And then the final one that I'm mashing up is a 4-book series or longer that also has some type of creature. And I will be reading Fortuna Swan for this. And hopefully, because I'm crazy and I put the newest and latest and final book in the series on my 26 and 26. Don't know why I did that. Have not started the series. I'm going to hopefully binge all of it. Hopefully I'll get to them all. And now we can continue on with more numbers. This is numerical title, so the number needs to be in the actual title. So 1, 2, 3, you get it. We've got the last one. I'm either going to read Take Two, which is an indie romance novel that is written by a podcast's wife that I'm a fan of the podcast, and her wife wrote this book, and so I was like, oh, I should read that, and here we are. Anyway, or I'll read The Two Towers, which is Tolkien, and we'll see how that goes. For 3, honestly, not a lot of books with 3 in the title. What's up with that? I've hesitantly decided on 3 Kisses, 1 Midnight. It's an anthology. We'll see how I do. Then I have Darker by 4, 5, 6 of Crows, or The 6 Scorched Roses, or Songs of the Sixth Realm. Many options there. I already mentioned 7 Deadly Thorns is going to be read, but if I didn't want to double up, I could read 7 Faceless Saints. I've got 8 Perfect Murders, 9 Lives by Catherine Stedman, not 9 Lives by Peter Swanson, thank you, and the 10,000 Doors of January, and then there's the 11th option of like any number, random number, and I've either gone with the 100,000 Kingdoms or The Girl with 1,000 Faces. Both sound good to me. Next, we have colors. So previous challenges, we've focused on the covers being certain colors. This time it's the title. So I've got Red City. How many people are going to be reading Priory of the Orange Tree for the first time or rereading it because of this challenge? I feel like we need a support group for all the people who are daring to do this, including myself, because I'm heavily considering. I also have an easy mode, which is Orange, which is manga. I've read the first one. I've not read Orange the Future Volume 2 or whatever. So that's like easy mode option. And I also have Blood Orange by Katrina Halley because I've enjoyed her in the past, but I've also not liked her. So I don't know how I feel about that. Moving on. 1 Yellow Eye, Across the Green Grass Fields, Blue Lily Lily Blue, or Into the Blue. Purple is the one that I'm struggling with the most. I don't think there's many books with purple in the title. And no, I don't want to read the color purple. Thank you for asking. So currently I have the Purple Haze, which I've never heard of before. It seems fine. It seems like a nice fantasy that I could enjoy. But if I want to like finesse the prompt a little bit and like fudge it, I've also got Violet Made of Thorns, which feels similar to like a Chloe Gong, Romeo and Juliet type of fantasy romance. But my book twin Melody read it and she gave it 3 stars. So there's slim chance that I would give it anything but a 3-star. And it's not technically the word purple. It's just a shade of purple, but it's a flower. So like, I don't know. It's a little bit cheaty. So we'll see. Next up, we have Pink. I had mentioned previously Witty and Pink, which is an option. I also have those Pink Mountain Nights or the Pink Agave and other short stories. For White, I think I'm going to pick up Little White Lies. For Black, I'm thinking about picking up Beyond the Black Door. Silver, I'm probably going to pick up The Isle of the Silver Sea or Silver on the Bone. And then finally, for Gold, I'm going to be reading The Golden Enclaves for Herkid 2.0. So I needed something else. And I've got The Golden Heiress, I think, which is on my anticipated releases of the year. Or in a Garden Burning Gold. Why was that title so hard to say? I'm unwell. This is too much talking, you guys. Okay, animal families. So basically, this prompt is like animal kingdoms of sorts, where it's like feline, canine, etc. are, I think, either on the cover or in the book as like a character or something of the sort. So we've got horses, and I'll be reading the Unicorn Hunters, and I'm assuming there's going to be unicorns in it, and obviously they're not real animals, but like they do fall under the horse family, so it counts. In my eyes, they're real. And then I have Snapdragon, because it's a cute graphic novel, and I'm in my graphic novel era right now, and I'm just having a really good time with it. There's a cute little puppy on the cover. For cats, I really want to pick up The Master and the Margarita. There's something about this book that really entices me, and I couldn't tell you why. I don't know what it's about. I also have the cat book, Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter. It's cozy though, and I'm not a big cozy person, but I have it on my shelf, so I might give it a try. For the bird family, I'm going with Wicked Onyx, which is a romantasy academia book that I'm really excited for, hoping to pick up soon. And then for reptile, I want to go with The Reptile Room, because like I said, I'm reading a series of unfortunate events, and that's 13 books that I'm going to make count worth for everything that I can. And our final one, I have rabbits, and I'm going to pick up The Bone Door. There's a lot of bunny cover books out in the world, so I feel like rabbit's a really easy one for people to pick up on, especially if you like reading horror. But this one, I think, is fantasy. The next one I'm a little bit unsure about, if we're being super honest, and it's the Biomes section. I think we need 6 of these, and it's impossible to know all of the biomes that are going to be within a book without reading the book, so this is subject to change, obviously. But the first one that I have is Rites of the Starling. I'm assuming that this is going to be foresty, because the first book was. But they're also, like, traveling and on the move, and, like, things are changing, so I don't fully know if it's still going to be as foresty. I'm hoping so, though. Next, I've got The City of Mirth and Malice, which is my urban pick. For my aquatic setting, I've got The Wicked Sea, which is a recent haul that I did. For a desert fantasy, I'm picking up The Girl of Thorn and Fire. Nope, The Girl of Fire and Thorns, which I've been meaning to read literally forever. And then I've got Grass Fields with Across the Green Grass Fields. Pretty easy, doubled up on that one. And the final one is Trad Wife, which I had mentioned earlier. This is like a pasture farm, which I am going to distinctly say is different from green grass fields. So take that. And then we have the remix section prompts, which are basically, okay, I'm gonna just read you because it's quite broad. Many a story has been told time and time again with deviations, alternative POVs, etc. Time to read 5 with different variations of the stories you know. Some examples that can be changed including gender bent, villain POV, deviating from the original plot, after happy ever after, side characters becoming main characters, same story, alternate universe, same story but magic. This came from fanfiction, so long as it's confirmed. I should mention at this point, with the fanfic part, before I go any further, that Herkid is strongly anti-TERF, therefore do not read any of the Wizarding World books that were published by the TERF, or fanfic published traditionally. Thank you. Alright, for this, I will be going with The Hurricane War, which is Star Wars fanfic traditionally published. I actually am really excited. I was so nervous about this one. I was like, I don't really want to read it. I own it, but I was like, not really for me. I'm not a Star Wars girly. Like, I like them enough. I have fond memories, but I'm not, like, in the fandom culture. But then I read Tusk Love, and I adored that. I don't think it's going to be at all the same, but now I know that this author at least is good at writing, so I trust her more. And then I also want to pick up, Malice. I'm going to pick up Vile Lady Villains. Have you guys heard of this? I didn't know this existed, and then I saw the cover on Libby when I was perusing one day, and I said, oh, and I put it on hold immediately, and I need to read it soon. But I'm so excited. The covers are gorgeous. Both covers are gorgeous. And I'm just really excited about this one. I also have Marian and Fishbone Cinderella, which are both books that I'm quite excited about. Marian sounds so fun. I would love to know if anyone's read it and like what they think about it, but I'm really looking forward to this one. And then we've got the food pyramid. So basically different foods for the pyramids. To represent the fruits, I've got Sleep Like Death. To represent dessert, which is definitely the most important food category, thank you, Kiss Slay Replay by Rachel Harrison. For my grains / carbs, I guess, I've got Automatic Noodle, because I need to read this for, again, the Broad Reader Bingo board. Let me know if you want a TBR for my Broad Reader Bingo, because I've mentioned it a couple times now. And then I've got a repeat, the Dead Husband's Cookbook, with like the big juicy steak just right there. And then I've got a repeat author, So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. I think this is going to be my Rachel Harrison year, to this year 2026 and next year 2027 for this challenge. I'm a big fan of Rachel Harrison, and I have many books on her backlist to still get to, and so I'm just like, I'm putting them on these TBRs a lot. But So Thirsty is representing just like the overall beverage category, which you can do once. So I'm going to count it, even though like, no, I'm not going to drink blood. It could just be a nice fruity little cocktail. We don't know. Right. And then we have maybe Q's favorite category, which is Mother Nature. This is just all about nature-y things on the cover, preferably if Q is deeming our choices worthy enough. It'll be like crazy weather phenomenon and natural disasters. But for this, I got the first one being like thunderstorms. Thunderstorms, which is Starside or Stormbreaker. And then for just cloudy, I've got the Cloud Atlas, I've got Castle in the Clouds, I've got the Count of Monte Cristo. I've got a few options for cloudy. Oh, but I have more options for snowy. I went generic with my my nature, if you will. But we've got Cold the Night, Fast the Wolves, Good Spirits, Small Things Like These, The Last Contract of Isako, No Exit, Smitten by the Alien Saloon Owner. No, technically it's not snow, but like it's implied snow. And she's got like little earmuffs, so an option. Her fire, I don't really have a lot of options, even though I'm sure there's a bajillion covers with fire on them. But for right now, I've got King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. For rain, I have either The Pallbearers Club, which I'm for sure reading this year, you can't stop me, or House of Bone and Rain by Gabino Iglesias. I have not read this author yet, but he writes horror that I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about, so like I'm interested. I'm intrigued. And then for the final one, I've got like Clear Skies, and this is going to be the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea, Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. Now we get into my worst enemy of categories. Q really came for me with this one. So basically, this is all about our birthdays. There's what, 7? Yeah, there's 7 prompts for the birthday months. And they suck. They suck for me specifically and especially. So the first one is your birthstone. Mine is an amethyst. I was born in February. There's not a lot of like books with amethyst in the title. I have 3 options and none of them intrigue me that much. I'm going to be honest. But the one that I'm leaning towards, I think, is Amethyst Storms. We'll see how this goes. It's one of those things where like, oh my god, it'd be so cool. I'll do like a little birthday vlog in February where I'd read all these like February birthday books. And then I saw the pics and I said, well, I can't do that to myself for my birthday. My birthday is sacred. I need to enjoy my reading. And then we've got book published in your birth month. So The Red Winter was published in February, and The Library of Amoran was also published in February. That one was easy. Western zodiac signs, I'm an Aquarius. So if you have books specifically for Aquarius, like characters or just fits their vibe, leave them down below, because the list, I'm going to be honest, I've read either a lot of the books or the lists are so far out of my taste. There was many years ago, like early on my channel, I did reading books based off like what they recommend for Aquarius, and I did not like most of them. So one of them I had to read was fully like a lizard frog man smut book that I was not prepared for. This was before my big smut journey. Anyways, for the Western zodiac sign, I've got The Stars Are Dying or Exalted. I feel like a lot of people could probably read Exalted just because it's about like witchy tarot stuff anyways. For the Chinese zodiac sign, I was born in 1999, so I'm the year of the rabbit. And for this, I could pick up The Bone Door. I could pick up We Love You Bunny. I could pick up Mrs. Death, because I actually put that on another TBR. Or I could pick up Our Crooked Hearts or Alice by Christina Henry. There's a lot of options. For my birth flower, I have 2 Violet books that I've already mentioned. Violet Thistleweight is Not a Villain Anymore, as well as Violet Made of Thorns. For the book tree, this one sucked. My birth tree apparently is an ash tree. Don't know what that is. Don't know what it looks like. That's not like a common thing. And all of the books about ash trees, I'm not interested in. So, Cheating Sam says that I should pick up An Ember in the Ashes, A Thief Among the Trees graphic novel. Because Ember in the Ashes, The Thief Among the Trees, ash tree, it technically kind of counts. Sort of. But there's like a few anthologies or poems or something about ash trees. So, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I'm not happy about it. That one was hard. And the other one that sucks is the meaning of your name. My birth name is Samantha. I go by Sam. Samantha is just the feminine version of Sam. Samuel, specifically. And Samuel is like God or something. So I guess I go with that. But I don't know. There's also like the at the end could also just like be the Greek version of flower. I don't think they were trying to say like God flower. So that's not fair to me. My name is lame. Anyways. I've got You've Reached Sam on here because, like, Sam dies and, like, it's close enough. I don't know. This one was hard for me, okay? Then we can go into the fun ones again. Back to normal. Categories left. So, the next one is backlist authors. Super easy. Read your author's backlist. I could truly just read all of Rachel Harrison and that would count, but there's a lot of authors that I want to read and a lot of books that I want to get to. So I'm including quite a few on here, but I've got The Return by Rachel Harrison. I have The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. So another reason to read Frankenstein. I have My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I've got No Exit by Taylor Adams, and I have All of Our Demise by Amanda Foody and C.L. Herman. Next up, I can say it because I'm not hosting a readathon, but basically it's Pokemon types. And for this, I went with Ghost type. So I've got Ghost Station, I Am the Ghost in Your House, A Head Full of Ghosts, Ghost Writer, A City of Ghosts, An Unkindness of Ghosts. A lot of ghost books. Very easy, doable. Next up, I had to go with Dragon type. I love dragon books. So I've got The Wrath of Dragons, Dragonfall, the Tea Dragon Society, the Ballad of... What is it? The Ballad of the Falling Dragons. So many dragon books. Easy. And then I have fairy type, because why not read some fae? I clearly like romantasy and horror. I've got Half a Soul, which is like a very popular historical fae book. I've got The Rose Bargain, also historical. And I also have A Dance with the Fae Prince, because for romantasy, which is Cassidy's bingo board, I need to read the Married to Magic series. And this is a part of that, so an option. I also want to do the poison type, and I want to read The Poison Study. This is like classic fantasy that I've not read, and I would really like to, and hopefully I love it. And then I also went very simple, very classic fire type, and I'm going to read Dawn of the Firebird, because I've been so excited since I unboxed this, and I have not picked it up yet. Next up, we have anthologies. This is maybe my favorite of the prompts, and it might be because our fantasy also really highlights anthologies. I think every year there's a square that you need to read 5 short stories or just like read a full anthology. And I like anthologies. I've had a pretty decent luck. Some of them not so much, but like for the most part, I enjoy them. So for this, I went with One Bad Night. This is by obviously a collective group of authors. It's a short story collection. That's how that works. But this was an Aardvark exclusive, I think, maybe, question mark. And basically a bunch of horror authors that I love and adore came together to write this collection. So we have The Return of Rachel Harrison, and the only book that I've not mentioned so far in this video is Play Nice. So that one will be my pick. And then I've got options. There's 8 authors in total in this collection, and I need to read at least 6. So I can either pick The Newborn Park by Jennifer Thorne, which I'm leaning towards, or I could pick up These Walls Remember by Del Sondine. I read this Curse House and I did not like it, so I'm a little hesitant, but maybe These Walls Remember will be like a good second chance option. But if not, Newborn Park, probably gonna like, because I did really like Loot, and I also really like Diavola. The other one that I have options for, I could either pick up Headlights by C.J. Lead, hesitant, super hesitant about that one, or I can pick up Desert Creatures by Kay Chronister, which she wrote The Bog Wife, which is one of those like growers not shower type books where like I enjoyed it in that moment, but the more that I sat with it, the more I was just like, this is so good. So those are my 2 options. I'm probably leaning towards Headlights just because I loved Mayful Life so much, but I hated American Rapture, so like I don't know what to do about that. And then I'm gonna pick up an S.A. Barnes. I can either pick up Ghost Station, Dead Silence, or Death's Daughter, which all already appeared in Herkid TBR, so that works for me. And then I've got, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Stephen Graham Jones. So I have either Mapping the Interiors, which everyone says is fantastic, Buffalo Hunter Hunter, which I just need to finish. I just need to get it done. Or I can continue in the Indian Lake series. So again, options. We love to see it. And then finally for this, we have Kylie Lee Baker. I need to read Japanese Gothic, so that's probably going to be the pick. But if I wanted, I could also dabble in her fantasy. I do think it's fun because One Bad Night is specifically a horror anthology if I read all of these authors' horror books rather than their romance fantasy books, but what can you do? Sometimes the heart wants what it wants. And then we've got our final category, which is hidden gems and second chances. So basically, soft DNFs, giving an author a second chance, picking up books that you didn't like, picking up books that you're kind of iffy about, or picked up on a whim, at random, little for your library, ugly covers, things of that sort. It's pretty wide. So for this, I have The Red Scholar's Wake, which I've soft DNF'd, but again, I did purchase it with an Audible credit, so like I will just finish the 3 hours. It's very short. I should just do it. And then I can tell Brandy all about it. It's gonna be fine. I just don't want to do it. I also have The Last Hour Between Worlds. I put this on my TBR And then I was like, I'm gonna for sure read it. And then I read nothing on that month's TBR because it was tax season. Everybody was really interested in my thoughts, and I want to give it a try because, again, I physically own this and it's out of my comfort zone. So it's something that I should at least give it a chance. But it's historical and sci-fi and sapphic romance. So, like, there's, you know, pros and cons to it. Then I have The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. I soft DNF this, like, a year or two ago. Not because I thought it was bad. I just was not able to, like, listen to a fantasy book and, like, be okay. So I put it down. But I've only heard great things about it since I put it down. So I need to pick it up. The last two I have on my physical shelf. I have The Kiss Deception, which I'm kind of just being nice to myself. But I did thrift this copy. It, like, technically qualifies. And then I also have Dreams Lie Beneath, which is a second chance because I read Divine Rivals. It was fine. I didn't love it. I have not continued in the series. I am more interested in picking up Wild Reverence than I am in picking up the sequel. I should just pick it up and finish it, but I was just kind of like towards the whole thing. But Dreams Lie Beneath could be a good second chance. This is young adult and came out a few years ago now. I don't recall if this was her debut or not, but I'm interested in it nonetheless, and it'll be a good one to give her another chance, see if I like it, see if this or Wild Reverence work for me, and if not, I gotta be done with this author, so that's how that be. But with all that said and done, before my camera overheated, that is the tentative TBR. That's what I'm kind of hoping to get to, what's like loosely expected of me. We'll see how I actually do on this and how far I actually get. I will get pretty far. I got pretty far with 2.0. I finished the first round, I'm pretty sure, and I got pretty close to the second round, and I just need to like finish a couple. And it's more so like me being stubborn that I'm like, no, you need to read these books, not that you should sub them out. But when we're like fresh start like this with 3.0, like, oh, the world's my oyster. I could read anything. But I did really want to make sure that like our fantasy books, other bingo board challenge books were like also on this, so I wasn't like going so crazy, because I'm trying to at least maintain some realism when doing these, that it's like, well, if I'm gonna read 25 books for our fantasy and 150 books for this and another 25 for every other bingo board out there, I need to make sure that like we're doubling and quadrupling up on some of these things so that, you know, we can all keep our peace a little bit. But honestly, there's something really exciting about a new reading challenge starting that just gets me amped, gets me just pumped about reading again. Like creating a list and like compiling a bunch of books that I'm interested in and like remembering what's out there really gets me excited. And then I'll kind of forget about it for a couple months and like piece in what I've read and then like remember what happened. So it's a fun journey. This is the kind of chaos that I love and adore. So with all of that said and done, thank you so much for listening to me yap. We went on a few tangents here and there, but I think sometimes it's nice to hang out with the pals. What can you say? Thank you again for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in my next video pretty soon. Bye!